Welcome back to the Crafting Cars YouTube channel. Today we got to do a cam and crank position sensor on a 2004 Kia Sorento. It is the 3.5 V6. I'm gonna have to take pretty much everything off just to get into the cam and crank sensors. These wires right here should lead to the sensors that we're going to change.
Daddy?
Yeah, bud? Check the gas tank?
Yeah, check the gas tank first.
Alright, we'll check it out here in a minute. Alrighty, I'm going to get the tools ready and I'll come back to you. Alright, we're going to try to drain the radiator, try to get it out of the way to make some space. So, this is your plug right here. Now I tried to get it with a Phillips at first and it started to want to strip out, so I just grabbed it with a pair of pliers and twisted it a little bit just to get it loose enough to turn. Now you're going to want to put a big bucket underneath it to catch all your fluid so you can put it back in later, unless you want to waste the money and buy some more. But if you do a lot of mechanic stuff like I do, then you'll have a couple of these jugs laying around that you could just put your fluid back in. Now don't leave any of this fluid around in your yard or in a bucket sitting in the yard, because anybody's neighborhood cats or dogs come by and drink it and, well, they won't be doing too good afterwards. Alright, let me get this drained out and then we'll get back to the actual job. After you get a little bit drained out, you can go ahead and take your clamp off of your top radiator hose and give it a little breathing air, that way it'll drain faster. Just a little tip to help you drain your radiator. Sorry, I needed two hands to do that. And after it's off, it drains a lot faster. Alright. Let's let that drain for a second. Okay, now that we have the radiator completely drained, we're going to go ahead and take this hose off, which is by a clamp that is right here. And it's an old style squeeze clamp. You're going to take a pair of pliers and you're going to get in here like this, and you're just going to squeeze it down and then move it back. I can't really do it with one hand, but I'll show you on another one. Give me a second. Okay, I'll show you on this one. Just take your pliers and you squeeze it together and you wriggle it down. And you can take your pliers and break that seal. And then you should be able to pull it right off. Notice I said should. That didn't really work out too well, but okay. Alright, I'm going to get these hoses out of my way, and then I'll come back when I'm getting to something that I think is important. There's two 10mm bolts. Well, I guess mine might be missing one, because it looks like a bolt hole right there that's missing one. But there's one here, and it holds on this metal vacuum line. You're going to pull that up out of your way, and then you're going to pull this plastic off. But there's one more 10mm bolt right there. And that should be all that holds this top one on. Alright, first cover. Talking to you two, baby. The time belt looks horrible. Let me pull you in here and let you check this out. See all those dry rotted cracks in there? It's not good. We'll just pretend like we didn't see that. Alright, we'll take off this hose and start getting ready to take all this off. By taking all the belts off, and then I'll come back. In order to get your power steering belt off, you'll have to loosen up the 14mm nut and then loosen on the 14mm tensioner. After you screw it in as far as you can, well, you don't have to go that far, just loosen it up just far enough to get your belt off the pulleys. Alright, I'm going to work on the other pulleys and maybe move that. If you're just looking to replace the radiator, all you'll have to do is take this clamp off at the bottom. I left that hose on, but I took it off at the top. And then you got a 10mm bolt on this side, and then a hose clamp right there, which I've already taken off when I pushed up. You'll slide all that off. And then there's two bolts on the top on either side. After you take your plastic flashing off that's right here, you got one on this side and one on this side, and it should slide straight out. Well, don't forget your two wires right here. One has the push-in clip on it that you push and pull out. The other one has one that you have to pry up with a screwdriver. Oh, sorry. There you go, right there. And then you just pull it out. Come back when I got that done. Alright, I lied about the radiator. There was two more bolts. There was one at the bottom on this side and one at the bottom on this side. And if you think it's going to come out of there easy, no chance. You got to literally yank with all your might. But how we did this one, well, this belt, is the same way that you do this one and this one. You just loosen this front bolt, and up underneath there's another bolt that you just loosen it out, and that's how you get all the belts off. And I'm going to take all these 10s off of this pulley and pull it out of the way, and then we're going to start looking at all the bolts that hold this bracket on, because we're going to have to remove it in order to get to the timing cover. Alright, I'm going to do that and then I'll come back. Okay, this bracket right here is what holds your AC pump on. As you normal, there's 4 bolts that hold on your AC pump. 2 on the side right here and 2 on the bottom right below those. Well, this bracket bolts onto the side of the block right there. This is what had the tensioner on it on the right side. This is actually the long bolt. So if you're at home and you take all 4 of these bolts out on the side of the block, right there, this is the short ones, and this long one is the one that goes in that hole, just so you can't forget. Now we're going to set this to the side. Now we can actually get to this bolt and get all these other bolts out, which are all 14s. All these were 14s. And pretty sure we're going to have to take that alternator off too. But I'll figure it out. But when you're taking off your pump, do not take off your lines. If you take off your lines, then you're going to have to get new Freon put in. And there's normally like an environmental cost and everything else. So just don't do it. Just let it hang there. It'll be alright. Alright, after you get all those bolts out, you can pull this down to the side and try not to pinch off your lines over here. You take off your plastic covers. That cover is the exact same as this, but it actually had the extra bolt. And then this one just has a few screws here and here, right here, and then there was one down there, right there. Put it right there. One right there, that was it. Well, anyways, so you're going to pull this. No, there was one right there too, but it was broken out. Okay. I'm going to pull this down. And right there is your crank angle sensor. And if you look for your cam angle sensor, it's right there. Alright, and that is your cam sensor. As you can see, mine is broken. Isn't that wonderful? Now, is that the reason that this ain't working? Probably not, but we'll get into that later. And that is your crank sensor. Way down in there. Now you can take off this front pulley just to get this piece of plastic out of the way, but then you're going to have to put it back on, and there ain't no point unless you're changing this belt out, in which we're not changing the belt. We're just changing the sensors. So you can just pull it down like this, it'll flex. You get in there with your ratchet and take your 210s out, and then take your 210s out up here and feed the wires back through and put your new sensors in. But this is where we're going to end for today, and then I'll show you how to put it back together tomorrow with the new sensors. So thanks again for watching the Crafting Cars YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell button so you can get notified when a new video comes out. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a good day.